Declan Rice has 2 notches on that bedpost compared to a big fat 0 of Harry Kane.
Mate, we're not putting the Community Shield in there as a major honour. Like, come on now.
It's a trophy, though.
It is a trophy, right? But so is the Singapore trophy. No one cares about that.
Hang on a minute. Your football club on its honours page has the Costa del Rey Cup on there listed.
Costa del Sol, and we didn't just win it; we won it back to back.
Yes, right? But your club takes Costa del Sol friendly tournaments.
Oh yeah, we'll have a DVD
on your honours page, bruv. Like your club loves it.
If we won the Charity Shield, there'd be an open top bus parade, and there'd be a DVD made about it. The point I'm making is,
did you guys make a DVD just for beat? You guys knocked Arsenal at the League Cup once, and a DVD came out, right?
Yeah, we won the League Cup that year. Yeah.
But I know, no, you didn't win the league.
Just for that match, yeah, there was a DVD. Steve
for the one game. I remember my dad bought it. I looked at him like, Dad, please tell me I'm adopted. Please tell me Mum cheated. I don't want to be your son today.
When it comes to Tottenham, I mean, the mentality of the football club is to not win trophies. The mentality of the football club is to profit, right? The point I'm making is, everyone comes out and says Declan Rice is the best DM in Europe. I've heard that so many times on Twitter, right? He's not even the best DM at Arsenal. He's not better than Thomas Partey. He's not better than Casemiro. He's not better than Rodri. Like, there's 3 DMs automatically better than this guy. I agree with what you're saying. As a leader, he is unbelievable. That's one thing Harry Kane will never have. He's not a leader. He leads by example, but he doesn't lead on a football pitch. The reason with West Ham, right, compared to Tottenham, West Ham focused on that Conference League because they knew that was their best route into Europe, and they took it seriously. Tottenham, however, we look at it and go, it's only the Tin Pot Trophy. Who cares? And then we have the audacity, my deluded fans, to say, oh, look at West Ham celebrating a trophy. We ain't done anything in the last 30 years. That's the mentality of this football club. I agree. West Ham, they deserve all the props they get. They took it seriously. They didn't lose a single game throughout the tournament. Right? Scamacca was very good. Antonio was very good. Jared Bowen writes his name in the history books for scoring a winner. Fantastic. Declan Rice lifts that. But the Charity Shield, however, they got in there by default. Let's be honest. They didn't deserve to be in there. Bigger fish to fry, blah, blah, blah. You know, AFTV, whoever you want to talk about, saying, oh, yeah, we got bigger fish to fry. Then you get absolutely slapped at the Etihad. But hang on. How do Tottenham manage to beat Man City every year? How do we manage to do that? Because it's down to the mentality. Declan Rice, if he's Italian, I stand by it, he's not a £100 million player. If he's German, he's not a £100 million player.
Where you're right in that regard is he wouldn't have the same level of commercial commercial appetite around him. So you would knock 20 to 25 million pound off of his price tag because
immediately.
Because his image rights are worth a lot of money in England because he's a star player in the England team. And it's like anything. Son's worth a lot of money to Tottenham, right? But he's worth a lot more money because of the market in
South Korea. Oh, he's like Ronaldo over there.
Yeah, exactly. So he's worth a lot of money. But if there's an unnamed, if there was a DM at Declan Rice's level from South Korea who wasn't a star in South Korea, he'd be cheap because there's no commercial upside to him. Son's expensive because his image rights are worth so much money. So that's a big part in that. But look, I think I saw a lot of criticism for Declan Rice yesterday after the game, and I thought I kind of went back and I watched some of the game back last night as I always do because I have to talk about it on shows like this, and I thought he was. I wouldn't say he was well-class yesterday, but I thought he was very good. First 20 minutes, City had all this ball, and I thought Arsenal were going to be cooked on the TL and on the shows because they've spent 160-odd million on 2 new midfielders. I know that Kai Havertz was playing more up front yesterday, and they're not having any real success on the ball. And then second half of the first half, they had more of the ball. They were winning midfield battles. And I thought Partey and Rice have still got to get their partnership right when one drops, when one goes forward. And I think they can actually alternate one going forward, one going backwards. It makes it hard for their opponents. I thought he did very, very well indeed for his first competitive game for Arsenal. And there's another level for him to kind of go to. But yeah, as you say, he's won 2 trophies. And at the end of the day, trophies are the ultimate barometer. And when I look at Harry Kane, I feel sad that he could end his career with no major trophy of any capacity. For a player it made me sad that Letitia retired like that. This would hurt me even more as a football fan because Harry Kane is a world-class football player. But I said to me and Phil had a debate about a year or so ago on Twitter. He can't sit on a table and dine with football legends, Harry Kane, because they have all. It isn't because they've got the trophies per se, it's because of what they did and contributed towards it. And until you've done that, so one thing with Harry Kane, we've never really seen him regularly in a title race. He's not been in enough finals to be able to prove himself. And all the other legends, just think of the Premier League, the Agueros, the Henrys.
Look at Jamie Vardy.
Well, Jamie Vardy is a great example. He had that one season that will live on in, and this is the crazy thing. Harry Kane will live on in the memory of Tottenham fans forever. It'll be remembered in part by football fans, but in 100 years' time, that Leicester season will still be discussed by football fans. Jamie Vardy's contribution will live on. That legacy lasts. Now, Harry Kane could be the Premier League's top goal scorer, so that will help him. That will help him to a degree. But being the Premier League's top goal scorer will not be remembered in the same way as what Vardy did that season. Shearer's the same. Shearer, my biggest memories of Shearer, and none of them are in Newcastle shirts. It's what he did at Blackburn because they took over the Premier League for a small period.
He should have joined United.
Well, he should have done. He turned, but we got Ollie. So look, listen, we got Ollie. I'm happy with it. I still regret. I still feel sad about that not happening. But yeah, look, Harry Kane. I'd be gutted if he was to stay. I really, really would. This year says Rice won the Conference League at West Ham. Kane got knocked out the group stages.
We got knocked out because of COVID. We couldn't even play our game. That's how Spursy we are.
Dan here says we have Nico Williams and Nkunku. Yeah, both look very, very good in pre-season. There is no doubt. Thank you, Hash, for becoming an official member. Arsenal Fever says Championes, ole.
It's a charity shield, mate. Come on. David Moyes won it and then got sacked 3 months later.
Sully here says totally agree. Kane won't ruin his reputation. It's a fair point. Jack Grealish isn't worth 100 million, isn't a 100 million player, but look how he has turned out to be.
Jack Grealish had a 100 million release clause. It's context. And Jack Grealish is 10 times the footballer Declan Rice is. Jack Grealish, before anyone says, oh, but yeah, he didn't score 10 goals, or stat merchants come out and say, but he only did that. To play on the left wing for Pep Guardiola, you have got to be mustard. Declan Rice goes to Man City last year, doesn't start. Fact. He does not get in that team.
Pep Guardiola has said on record that Declan Rice is an absolutely fantastic football player. So he was wanted. Yeah, they put in, but hang on, they also put in a bid of nearly 100 million pounds for him.
Yeah, but they did that a lot though. They did that with Ronaldo. They did it with Maguire. They did it with Alexis Sanchez. If he wanted him, they would have gone through with it.
No, not really. It doesn't work that way. This is the thing. I would say, even as a Man United fan, when we were at our best, and you're a little bit younger than me, what are you, mid-20s, about 25?
27.
27, right, mid-20s. So you are 10 years younger than me. I remember when Man United were the best team in England by a country mile. We still got rejected we still went for players and they chose rivals. There were players that were going that were picking Chelsea over Man United when they weren't challenging. You don't always get. There's like a fallacy that Fergie always got what he wanted. At
the same time, though,
and Alan Shearer is a great example. We wanted him, we didn't get him. Paul Gascoigne turned us down for you, mob.
That for me, if Ferguson
for a sunbed, by the way, that was for a sunbed because you guys offered the same money as you, but in one of these drunken things, he went, well, if you buy my sister a sunbed, I'll change mine. And you guys bought his sister a sunbed, and that's great to do.
Ferguson would have got through to him and sorted out his head, and he would have gone down as one of the greatest footballers we have ever seen. Because Ferguson would have done that with Dele Alli as well. Dele Alli, unbelievable talent, but his head weren't in the game. In terms of that Jack Grealish comment, right? 100 million release clause is different to paying 105 million up front. Right? Admittedly, the release clause, you've got to pay a certain amount, but that's what the player's at. You pay that release clause, there's nothing the club can do because they've put that in place. And Jack Grealish, is absolutely mustard. If Man City really want a player, they will go in and get him. They've just done it with Vardy, right? 90 million euros. I don't believe personally, or in my hearts of hearts, that Declan Rice was wanted that much by Man City. I think they wanted him, but not fully locked in. Not fully. When they're locked in, Terry, they pulled out of Alexis Sanchez. Alexis Sanchez at the time was one of the best players in the league, wasn't it? He was unbelievable at Arsenal. And they wanted Ronaldo, but they didn't fully lock in. Look at us. Tottenham do it all the time. All the time, like Richarlison. Who in their right minds would pay 60 million for him? But we did because we really locked in and wanted him.
I hear where you're coming from. There's super chat here that says Kane will become Arteta's B. I don't know what he means by that, baby or brother.
B team.
Okay, Arteta will be behind him, is what Arsenal Fever says here. Believes he's coming to you guys. And he says, if Arsenal didn't deserve to be there, who did? in the Community Shield final.
Well, in my opinion, if you win the FA Cup in the Premier League, the Charity Shield should be scrapped that year. Because it's pointless, mate. Arsenal get in there by literally bottling a league title, being at the top for 94% of the league, bigger fish to fry, and then automatically get into playing against Man City. That makes no logical sense. If you win the FA Cup and you win the Premier League, the Charity Shield that year is scrapped. Let's be honest.
Well, they can't do that because it's literally to raise money for charity. That's kind of like the point.
Well, then whoever wins the league in the FA Cup, what that raises, you pay it. Like it's madness. That being said, if we got in it, I'd probably
celebrate it. Well, listen. It's like all the shameless gooners who said that. Why is anyone celebrating winning the Carabao Cup? Why'd they bother spending money on tickets to go to the Community Shield yesterday?
Yeah, mate, Lee's got a
listen, I love Rio Ferdinand. He's a hero of mine. He basically tweeted alluding to winning the Community Shield means nothing. There's pictures of him holding it, running around the pitch. Yeah. Honestly, I don't get it. Jack Grealish doesn't even start for England, is what Wayne says here. It's true, he doesn't.
Yeah, but he should be starting, shouldn't he? Let's be honest.
This is a big take. Not over Rashford. He's not better than Rashford at football.
For the way football I'd like to play, I'd start Grealish. My front three would be Saka, Grealish, and Kane. But I get why people would say Rashford.
What's your favourite start? What kind of music do you listen to?
Everything. Like my Spotify playlist. I've got this DJ thing on Spotify now where it basically plays, like it's an AI DJ that plays all music. There's everything in there, from rock, metal.
Who's your favourite singer?
Singer?
Or like artist?
Artist, probably Drake.
Okay, so do you think Drake is better than Metallica?
No, because Metallica have been doing it a lot longer.
Okay, I respect you on that, because the reason I'm saying that is like preference is an interesting thing, right? Because preference-wise, I prefer Drake to Metallica, but I recognize that Metallica have outsold him. Therefore, they are a better musical group.
AC/DC have been doing it since the 70s.
No, right? So I hear you. So my point is this: I have a preference of music, but I have to recognize achievements. I have to recognize that not everybody sees football through the lens that I see it through. So I just think Rashford, the reason he starts over him is because he's seen as a better
okay. Does Rashford, if you're playing an England team, right? Kane starts up front, right? Because we don't have anyone else for here. Rashford could play there, but he's not got the same goal impact as Kane. On the left, right? The way I would play football, Grealish's job would be to get in behind and create chances and score goals. Rashford's best, in my opinion, running in behind through the middle. That's when he's at his absolute best. In terms of goal scoring, he blows Grealish out of the water. We all know that.
So the way I look at Grealish is this. Technically on the ball, Grealish is better than Rashford. I'm very, very aware of that. And there's elements of Grealish that I love. But what he doesn't do enough. So when people talk about what I really find hypocritical about the Jack Grealish conversation is when he wasn't scoring or getting assists for City for the first 18 months of his career there, he was, no, that's not his job, Terry. His job is to make space and sit out wide and create things for like space for others. As soon as he started doing that and then scoring and assisting, everyone was like, now we're seeing £100 million man. I'm like, yeah, you are now, because he's delivering goals and assists for creative, like attackers, inside forwards, wingers, and strikers in this era of football. That is, for me, it's a stat that you have to judge people on. If you're in those advanced positions and you're not creating and you're not scoring at the highest level, that's a slight on you. Like, imagine Harry Kane is what he is with all his ability, but he was only scoring 15 goals a year and getting 3 or 4 assists. He wouldn't be Harry Kane. If Haaland and Mbappe were who they are, but they got 1/3 of the goals, they wouldn't be the phenoms. Even with Messi and Ronaldo, if they were as good as they were technically, but were only scoring and assisting 20 GA each a year, they wouldn't be the aliens that we called them. You have to have that for me. So again, when it comes to attackers, I think outputs are very, very important indeed, because it's a very tangible and accurate output. You know, it's harder with midfielders and defenders because the stats can be kind of skewed a little bit in terms of defenders in slightly lesser teams will complete more clearances in a game than a defender at Man City. That doesn't make him better because there's far more crosses coming into their boxes and things like that. So you have to look at it. But yeah, I think that goal scoring and creating is very important. But there's a super chat that's coming here. It says Grealish should play where he did at Villa.
That's context, though. At Villa, he was given license to free roam, so he'd come into the middle a lot. Guardiola, Henri said this: When you play under Guardiola, your job is just to beat out wide, receive the ball, and then run at the fullback. When he was at Villa, it was everywhere, and they built a team around him, so his impact is going to be a lot bigger. If Harry Kane, right, plays at Tottenham, scores 30 odd goals, right, he would score more goals going to a better team because he's playing around better players. Surely that's the logic. But Man City, that first year, you're essentially saying, like, you've got to learn a whole new system. And Guardiola, as soon as you start dropping back, he'll sub you off and say, look, you're not doing it. Like, people were calling Foden a flop last year. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely mental. Like, you play a part in a system. If you're not playing that part, Guardiola won't have it.
No, listen, and I understand that. I wouldn't. I think he improved massively towards the back end of the season, and obviously knows that he can do it. But you know, there's always pressure when you cost that amount of money.